Hey, my little pumpkins, we're back with another little update video, and we've got the river excursions open. It's so cool to see so many of the little guests come over here and use this little bridge now. That's one of those things where it was kind of like a random little decision, like, okay, let's go ahead and let's just put a little bridge out here. It'll break up the water a little bit, kind of break up this little cove area, and I think it could look cool, even if I can't make it to where the guests can use it because too much of the real path maybe sticks out. But that is not how it ended up going down. I was able to end up hiding it pretty good. Their little feet, it's not like the wood is coming up like to their shins and they're walking through it. So I just think that was a pretty cool little entrance. And then, of course, people would look over the edge, and we've got like this really turquoise, really beautiful sandy bottom, almost like, I've been explaining it as almost like a Disney Springs type bottom. Like maybe this is like the first part of this little area is just like a natural spring. Think of Crystal Springs in Florida is another example that I was using, where it's not like fake Disney Springs. Like the water really looks like that down in Crystal Springs in Florida, and that's what I was talking about. You can see the underwater mermaid shows and do the glass bottom boats. It is a really cool piece of land down there, really cool property and park. But this picture right here, we'll just kind of go over the ride and lead you back there to it, and we'll ride it and look at some of the different, kind of like the different layout of it and some of the different design ideas. But this little river excursion sign right here, excuse us, we're going through a hard save. I found this on my buddy Randy was actually out in Disneyland this summer. He usually goes out there, or tries to go out there once every summer, and he took a picture of the river excursion sign actually in Disneyland. And I saw that sign and I'm like, man, how awesome would that be to try to bring into Planet Coaster and do as a, kind of like a ride billboard or a ride sign. So that's what we did. And this is like one of my favorite signs in the whole park. I just think that it transitioned over to the game so well. And like a perfect presentation entry point here. And then I also you'll notice the font on River Excursions that they have on the sign. I was actually able to trace it, and I brought in like a little crude version over on the top of the entrance of the Q building, and kind of made it look like they've gotten up there and, like crudely painted that on there. So that was, I think that turned out really, really well. Then you make your way across a second bridge, and that actually takes you in to the boathouse, to the loading area. So we've still got all kinds of fish out here. I've dotted foliage everywhere. We've got some spare boats. We've got the kind of like the motor oil, old rusty signs out here. And then as you make your way down into the queue, this is where the queue ends and you'll actually load onto the boats. We've got 4 boats running, and we just, kind of filled the area up with boxes and, all kinds of little things you think you would see like in a boathouse or a boat landing, all kinds of like, implied supplies that the boats would, stock up on before they head back out. We've got dead-eyed ducks, flamingos out here. We've got, of course, misread nebulous kois. I forget who did these little fish, but I love them too. I placed them down in here. Then you've got your little sign, kind of like an ominous little sign. Nothing too major at the beginning, but you'll notice they do not suggest swimming in this little area. And you come up through here, you've got like a little camp out. We don't not necessarily know if they're unsavory fellows, but they're not necessarily, they don't seem like they're too much of a threat to you, but kind of weird. They're just hanging out here on the riverbank with a full camp. Then as you make your way down through here, you'll get to the Hippo Falls that we've been calling it. And this is kind of like, we kind of went with like a friendlier tone with the hippos. Like we said in a couple of the past videos, you would probably be murdered right here. But nonetheless, we're going to pretend these are friendly little animatronic hippos. And this is kind of when things go a little sideways. What normally would take you right back around through the rest of the springs and continue on your tour, we actually have a plane crash out here. So we're actually forced to break off over to the left and somewhere where you do not want to be, and that is in Trapper Dan's property, because the only way out is actually through a swamp. So this is how, this is kind of like Trapper Dan's territory up here, and it is not meant for little tourists and tour boats. And once the guests make their way through here, you'll see why. This does not seem like it's the friendliest of swamps. We've used our kind of like our little duckweed texture here. You'll notice a couple of my buddies on YouTube were saying we needed some fog out here. We've got the really creepy trees, turn back sign, got some spiders up here in the mouth of the tree, just gators all over. But your savior is, we actually have a lookout up here, and he spots us and is able to open the gates and let us out just in time. Probably got to adjust that a little bit because the doors kind of close on the bottom of the boat just a hair too soon. But you can thank this little fella. He is on the lookout for us. He knows from the radio tower that we got a little off course because of the plane crash, and he actually lets us back in where we would normally kind of meet back up with the boathouse, and you end up being safe. But yeah, he is kind of like our way out of the creepy swamp. And of course, I did some cool lighting for it. And you know, I know a lot of you guys probably wanted me to go like a little more in depth with this, but we also have to remember that this is part of a larger, massive park. So every single one of these rides, I can't really go full on out because, like we've said before, with it being Planet Coaster, once you get to a certain amount of pieces, it seems, and once you get so large, it doesn't really matter how powerful of a PC you have. It is just the nature of the game. It is going to start bogging down on you. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to be, you know, like cognitive of. And, you know, some concessions are unfortunately going to have to be made when it comes to designing some of these rides. Like, I would have loved to have like maybe an indoor dark section of this. Maybe some kind of last fiery battle. But it definitely seems like you have to be careful with VFX. That seems like it could kind of clog things down a little bit. So, but you know, we kind of made the best of it. I still think it's a fun little ride, just kind of, you know, for being one of the big ticket attractions over here in Adventureland. I think it still came out pretty cool. We've got the witch's house over here. Like I said, we've just got little gators kind of hid everywhere, kind of coming out of the murky water, coming out of the fog. And I just, like I said, for me trying to hold back a little bit, I think this little area just came out. I think it came out really, really fun. And like I said, you could argue that this side may be indoors, like so it could stay dark like that for, you know, each of kind of like the little excursions. But I still think it's okay because you guys kind of know, unless you're new, you kind of know the backstory of this. But let's just see. You know, honestly, it doesn't look great riding it. But, you know, because you can't see out of the boats really, really well. But I still think it's a fun little ride. See how when you ride this, it kind of you can only see the other guests. So we can always kind of do a little point of interest. But yeah, you guys get the trick. We're watching out for gators. This trip did not go as planned. See if one comes gliding by. Oh, we might have passed him. And this is like I said, this is your great escape, thankfully. And back to safety. So yeah, that is kind of what we ended up making happen with this. Like I said, I know it's a pretty large footprint. It's actually a little, you know, pretty good bit larger than the coaster footprint, but I think with as much theming and as much as people love water rides, even just boat rides, I think this is, it called for such theming and such time to get this taken care of. Obviously, a boat ride is not one you would want to make implied, kind of like we did over here. This is a little easier to explain as far as, the steampunk time traveler ride goes, to be a little more implied. But I knew with the boat ride, we would actually have to do that. And that's kind of like the thought process we'll have to do going forward. Okay, what do we create real? What do we create implied? That's what's kind of fun about this game, just trying to decide, okay, what are we going to do? Where are we going to have to cut corners? What do I really kind of want to flesh out? What do I really want them to see? But you'll notice the next part that I haven't got a chance to start yet, but I've got the construction walls up. I think we are going to go forward with our Grizzly Trail, Grizzly Gulch, kind of heavily themed after Hong Kong Disneyland's Grizzly Trail area. And I want to do probably like a mine cart coaster that's going to take up a big part of the land. Is basically the Grizzly Trail, the Grizzly Gulch area. I'm not sure which one I'll call it yet. I'm kind of going back and forth between Grizzly Trail, Grizzly Gulch. That will be, I think it's just going to have its one main attraction, and then it might have maybe a flat ride or two, kind of like the Steampunk Land does. I don't think we'll have two coasters or a coaster and another large ride. Grizzly Gulch will probably be like the reason you go there is to ride that mine cart and, get into that mischief. Oh, another thing. Remember the little goofball Silverette way back in the day built that restaurant for Koali Beach. I thought, and he ended up putting it on the workshop years ago, and I came across it just looking around. I thought this looks so much better than that restaurant I brought in from Neil Napoli that I did for Rudy. I think this just kind of, I think we're in a little bit of a save trap again. It's kind of frozen up on us. There we go. I think this just like almost brings around that adventure feel more than my restaurant did. And then of course we've got, the whole backstage area where you actually go in. And I was thinking of it more of like a rainforest cafe where there's big screens and aquariums. But I just thought Silverette's facade just looks killer out here in this adventure area. So, like I've said before, I'm never too bashful to use blueprints if I think they look good, and that is just, I think especially with the elevated seating. See how the people can come through and you can actually get up off the path and go up here and eat if you wanted to, and you can kind of look down on the whole river excursion area, people watch, watch people use the slides over there. And so, yeah, I think that little whole facade, that like adventure, almost tropical facade, just ties in that area a lot better than the shingle roof that I have that I had and the more bulkier building. So yeah, this is a wrap on the Adventureland. I took the heads off of the building right there. I thought they looked a little too cartoony. So I took them off and just made it look like, a more just like an adventurous type of village and, main house here. Then, of course, you go across the bridge over here to X's, kind of like the second premier attraction to Adventureland, which is the Exmo's awesome spinning coaster, which fit this little corner right here perfect. And then, of course, we brought in Wow Man's Adventurers Club facade, and people can go up in there and use the bathroom, and there's a little souvenir shop up in there. So I thought that was really, really fun. And lastly, I was kind of leaving this area open, and I think one of you guys even suggested it maybe a video or two ago. is what if we did a train station here, and this maybe can be where the train of the park, one of the starting stations. So the train starts here, kind of makes its way up past the swamp, and another stop, like the second stop, would be over here in Grizzly Gulch somewhere. Have like a western train stop, and then maybe we could bring it around over here and tie it in with one of these buildings as like a main lagoon train stop. So we could have 3 or 4 different stops all around the park, and then maybe as we even kind of extend out towards this corner, there can be another stop, or who knows what kind of lands and stuff we'll come up with. But a lot of you guys were saying that this just little perfectly in spot here would be really cool for a train station to get you out of this land and take you over to Grizzly Gulch if you wanted to stop there, or if you wanted it to take you back to the entrance and you weren't in a big hurry, you could bring the train maybe even all the way back over here. We could work something out. So you guys have to let me know what you think about that, because you got to figure out we do not have any sort of train layout yet, and if we don't put one in, it is going to get harder and harder as these lands develop and things are in the way, and you don't want to just go, removing or destroying a bunch of big buildings and stuff, so just to get the train to come through. So it's about that time to where if we're going to do a train, it needs to happen like now-ish. So anyways, guys, yeah, I just kind of wanted to jump in and let you know Adventureland is finito. We are finished with Adventureland, and my next plan is, like we said, move on to Grizzly Gulch / Grizzly Trail, and yeah, just kind of see what you guys think about this. So let me know in the comments down below if you ended up enjoying this video, and don't forget to smash the like button, and so yeah, share it with your friends so it gets kind of put out there in the Planet Coaster universe. So I'm Stan Wolf. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.